Rearranging a formula. It is often useful to change the subject of a formula or rearrange an equation. We should follow the same rule, do the same things to both sides as we would do when solving an equation. We can add the same amount to both sides of the equation, subtract the same amount from both sides, multiply both sides by the same amount, or divide both sides by the same amount. Let's look at a few examples. Rearrange the following formulae for the given letter. A equals LW, that's the area of a rectangle, equals the length times the width for W. The perimeter of a rectangle equals 2 times in brackets L plus W for L. V equals U plus AT for T. PV equals nRT for T. P equals K over V for V. So let's try working through these. Let's look at the first one. A equals LW. We want W alone on one side of the equation. L is multiplying the W. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. So W would be A over L because these two values would cancel each other out. Or we could rewrite it as W equals A over L. Now let's look at the next example. P equals 2, open brackets, L plus W for L. That means we want L equals on one side of the equation. Now 2 is multiplying all of this, the L plus the W, so we can divide both sides by the 2. So the 2 cancels and we're left with P over 2 equals L plus W. Again, we want L alone on one side of the equation. How we do that? We subtract W from both sides. So P over 2 minus W equals L plus W minus W. We're left with L equals P over 2 minus W. Now let's try the next example. V equals U plus AT for T. We're keeping AT alone on one side of the equation, so we're going to subtract U from both sides because there's a positive in front of that U. So we're left with AT alone on this side of the equation and V minus U on the other side. A is multiplying the T, so we're dividing both sides by A. So our equation becomes T equals V minus U over A. Now let's look at the next example. PV equals nRT for T. Both N and R are multiplying the T. So what we're doing is dividing both sides by NR. So we're doing the opposite. Because NR was multiplying T to move it to the other side, we divide both sides by NR. So T equals PV over NR. Let's look at our last example. This one's trickier, but it's just like working with fractions. We want the equation in terms of v, but k is being divided by v. So the opposite of dividing is multiplying. So we're going to multiply both sides by v. So we have vp equals k, but we want v alone. So we're going to divide both sides by p. So v is equal to k over p. And this is how we rearrange equations.